Hello, and welcome to Real Person Reviews. I'm Sam, and I'm a real person. And today I want to talk to you about Wolfenstein 3D. Talking about the PC one. It's I have it on Steam. It runs through DOSBox, so that's the version you'll be seeing. I've also played this on Game Boy Advance. This is where I originally played it, so I might bring that up a little bit. But I'm sure a lot of the stuff applies to all the versions. I'm sure it does, more or less. All of the mostly accurate ports of it. Let's just say that accurate versions, whatever. But mostly those two is what it's based on. So it's primarily the PC one that I played finally. So I don't know. And if you want to see a less rambly, probably, version of this kind of shit, you can check out the written review in the description. But hey, if you're here, you can just hear this one here and see the stuff in front of your face. So let's do it. Wolfenstein 3D is a classic first-person shooter. It's one of the earliest ones. I don't know if it's necessarily the first first-person shooter, but I believe it's like the first one that got kind of big, that basically kind of built the foundations for, like, Doom, which was the huge hit that it was. I'm sure you may have heard of Doom. It's somewhat similar in a lot of ways. I mean, like, the plot is something to do with basically you're a dude that's going to try and stop Hitler and the Nazis. That's the main idea. That's the setting, and you're going through lots of different castles and bunkers and fortresses, that kind of shit, to try and kill all of these important people doing stuff that's told by each episode. There are 6 episodes of levels to play through. Each one has 9 floors, 8 regular floors, and then usually the 9th floor is a boss floor, which either has just the boss or some enemies to fight and then the boss. I mean, the controls for, like, the things you can do are, you can turn left and right, strafe left and right, move forward, move backward. You can shoot, and you have a button for opening things, which can open doors, or sometimes if you do it on certain walls, it'll actually push the wall back, and you can find secrets. Usually a lot of, like, goodies like ammo or weapons or treasures or health, things of that nature. The very basic stuff you'd find in most games, I guess. There are like, for weapons, you have a knife at all times you can use, which is rather silent because guns make noise and will alert other soldiers that are nearby to your location. So the knife can kill silently and doesn't use any ammo. And there's a pistol that you start with as well, which has, of course, limited ammo. You can also find a machine gun that shoots a bit faster, and then you can find a chain gun which shoots very fast, with the idea with that is that it consumes ammo, so that kind of balance thing. Everything runs on the same ammo. Everything runs on that same ammo count, except for, obviously, the knife doesn't use any. Then there's health, I guess. There's that to pick up. You can just pick up different things, like there's food, there's med kits, there's dog food, and you can pick those up for varying amounts of health. There's treasure you can pick up for. You can get a bonus for getting all the treasure in a level on a floor. Just like you can get a bonus for getting all the secrets and for doing it fast enough under the par time. All to add to your score. The treasure itself adds to your score directly, as does, I believe, killing enemies. So the score can be used to, you can save your score, I guess, and you can get like a high score, and put your name in. You can also it gives you extra lives every so many points. So then if you die on a floor, you can restart the floor with your extra life. You can also save whenever you want to. On here, so you could do that and save your progress whenever on your multiple save slots and whatever. It's a PC game, I guess that's not crazy, but I just thought I'd bring it up. What else is there? Well, basically, yeah, it's mostly it. It's I mean, like, you're fighting off different variants of Nazi soldiers, and some of them are weaker, some of them are stronger, some of them are faster or slower, like that kind of thing. And usually they'll try to run directly at you whenever they hear you. And so the levels are mostly these big, like, mazes for the most part, with lots of different little secrets to find. So a lot of them have locked doors. You have to find keys to go into. There are two different. There's like a gold key and a silver key, and so you have to use those to go through these special, like, locked doors, which will look a little different than the regular doors. And the sound design is basically that. You'll hear doors open and close. You'll hear other enemies, shooting, and whenever they say things, if they've been alerted, you'll get the sound effects for all the stuff you pick up, and there's background music too. That's mainly what you hear, and I guess yourself shooting, whatnot. That's for the most part what you're going to be hearing, and that's then you basically find the elevator on the end of each floor, and that's how you finish the level. And after you beat the boss, you beat the episode, and then you have to go to the next one, and next episode, load it up and start over. And yeah, just navigate the mazes, get the keys, go to the elevators, killing the dudes. Whether you get everything or not, that's up to you. You have that option, and I guess you can try to get the high score while you're at it. And I do still like this game. I do. I think it has a certain charm to it. The music's kind of catchy. The Game Boy Advance version did not have that. I guess I'll get into that a bit after this, but music kind of catchy. That's nice to have when you're going insane, running through a bunch of different mazes. It can be kind of fun to see what they do with all the different, like, textures and, like, set pieces they build and, like, throw everywhere the assets they made to populate the places. It feels like they tried to make some interesting stuff there without necessarily making a ton of unique different pieces. Like, here's a sink and some water, and here's, like, some lights, and, like, they're putting them around in certain ways to make the rooms look different, to make them feel like maybe this is this kind of room, maybe this room is a bathroom, because there's, like, sinks in it and stuff, and I don't know, like, it feels like it's working with sort of a limited amount of space and whatnot, and it's really interesting to see what they do with that. I also think that the level design is really cool, and sometimes I think it's cool just the way they kind of manipulate the AI, where it's like, okay, well, if we have the AI set up like this, if you kill this guy here, then everyone's going to hear you and, like, start opening the doors around you and surround you. Sometimes they'll kind of fuck with you, and it's like you hear somebody open up a door open up, and you're like, where the fuck was that? Where was it? And it's just somewhere where, like, the enemy is not going to be able to get to you because they're, like, stuck in a like, trying to walk out a wall or something because the AI isn't the smartest. But it's enough to fuck with, like, they were aware of that. It's like, this is fucking with me because I keep hearing a door opening and closing. Like, where the fuck is this guy? I'm getting, like, freaked out. And I think they do that stuff pretty effectively, and maybe that's not on purpose, but I would like to think that it is. The way it happens for a lot of the places, I'm thinking it was. So that's really nice. It's also really colorful. I like that there's a lot of vibrant, like, blues showing up in here, especially. A lot of those are pretty nice, and it's like some of the colorization is pretty cool for this. I guess it was the 90s, but also the simple controls are kind of nice, just because it is the kind of game you can pick up and play, and it's like there's not a lot you have to really, like, relearn when you're playing the game, right? It's like you run around and you shoot things and you go through the mazes, maybe you look for secrets. Like, it's not the kind of game where you need to be like, okay, I gotta get into it again, I gotta get myself invested again. Even the stories, you can just skip it if you just not read it if you don't give a shit. And so, like, it's a really great game to pick up and just kind of play whenever you want, that kind of thing. The simplicity still, I think, works for this game. I like that the guns all share the same ammo, so you're kind of like, okay, well, like, I don't want to waste all my ammo with the chain gun, because sometimes I'll shoot a bunch of bullets at a guy that only takes a few. But sometimes the pistol doesn't shoot fast enough, so you don't necessarily want to use that. Sometimes you just want to use the knife, so you save ammunition for all your guns. And, like, that's kind of a fun thing. You have to worry about, like, okay, does this gun have ammo? It's ammo for this gun, and everything's separate. It's kind of nice. There are extra lives I think you can pick up also that refill your health and ammo, and I think you might even get points for them, but they're pretty rare to find. Usually hidden pretty well as secrets. And some of those secrets are kind of fun to find, too. Like, I like the secrets that are kind of indicated by, like, oh, like, this place looks suspicious. Like, I'll click this poster over here. there are times when they are just like I don't know, like I like that they have those sometimes where like if you're paying attention to like the design and like the architecture stuff, it's like, oh, that looks off, let's try this, and that's a secret, cool, like those are good. But I guess that's a good place to start with the negatives, where it's like there are sometimes when you're just going and looking for secrets and you just, oh shit, like here's a wall, like I just was randomly hitting walls, and this wall that looks just like the rest of the walls with no indication that there'd be anything weird about it opened up. That's not really like I don't feel like I found that because I was paying attention. I feel like I found that because I mindlessly was trying to open every wall, and that's I fucking hated those, just because that's a way to pad the playtime, and it's like you don't really feel accomplished for finding it. It's just that when you keep finding it later on, it's like the only reason you knew it was there is because you had, however many times before, been clicking every wall, and like you remembered, oh yeah, there's this bullshit wall over here. I think that's like really dumb. It also doesn't even tell you like the amount of secrets you found or treasure or kills or anything, percentages in the level. So it's like, well, what the fuck? Like, if I missed a secret, I won't know until I beat the level, and then I'll have to go back into it and try to find shit again, right? Like, that sucks. There's also a level where the sliding, like, stuff... a couple levels that really pissed me off with the sliding door stuff, or the sliding wall shit, where it's like, okay, there was one where I was running around and I found finding those secret walls, and, like, I actually just pushed them in the wrong order. They were just bullshit walls you had to just find randomly, and I pushed them in the wrong order. And apparently if you do that, you can't get to the secret that you can see in, like, the middle of the level. So it's like, oh, fuck that sucks. And then there's another level where actually a similar thing happened. I pushed the secrets in the wrong order, and it was like, there was a poster on the wall, I pushed it in, there was another thing right next to it with a poster on it, I pushed that in. That's wrong. You're supposed to go over from that and push in a different, like, non-suspicious wall. Just push that in first, and then you can push that one, because the way the blocks slide, it actually pushes the one block in this position where then the other block blocks it. So, like, it can't push back all the way. And so you can't get to the hallway to get the key to open the door you need to open to actually finish the fucking level. That one especially pissed me off, because, like, they should have playtested that and figured out that didn't fucking work if you did it that way. That's the kind of shit, like, a secret, I understand. Do it the right way for a secret. That's still shitty, that sucks, but it's a secret, whatever. You don't do that to just beat your fucking... You don't make a secret to even beat your level in the first place, and you definitely don't make it that it becomes impossible to beat the level. Literally impossible to beat it if you do it the wrong way. And because you can save whenever the fuck you want, not only does that really lessen the effect of, like, who gives a shit about points, who's going to see my high score, this isn't an arcade game, like, fuck that, but there's also this whole thing of, like, and, like, the extra lives, I don't care, I can just, am I really going to start the level over with a pistol when I can just reload my save and have all my shit? Probably not. So lives are pretty much meaningless, out the fucking window for that anyways, which also makes you not even real incentivized to find the secrets, to find that shit and pick up the treasure and do the shit anyways, other than it feels satisfying to pick up the things, I guess. You mostly want to look for secrets for ammo and health and all that shit that you might need. But, like, aside from that, like, I mean, I don't know. It's just... why would they make a fucking, like... Why would they make a secret of the thing you had to do? I kind of lost my train of thought there a little bit, where I started with my point, 'cause I went on those tangents, but, like, it's frustrating that they would do this kind of shit, and it's like, yeah, that's what I was going to say, is that basically if you had played up to that point and you had saved post fucking up that level, that's like the 7th floor, you have to play through the 6 floors again just to get up to that point again to see what you did wrong, like to fix what you did wrong, if you knew that's what you did wrong. Because, like, especially if you killed everyone in the level that you can get to at that point, because then you can't even come back, because, like, you can't even die and restart it. So, that's real fun. That's just real fun that it can totally fuck you up. And I think that was probably just an oversight, but, like, the shit, that really annoyed the shit out of me. I'm glad I didn't totally fuck it up by saving after that shit, right? I mean, goddamn. So that's my tip. Save between levels. Save between levels. And also, I think it's worth bringing up that this is kind of, it's going through mazes. Some of the mazes are kind of fun, you have to have some spatial awareness. Some of the mazes are so, like, everything looks the fucking same, and it's not fun. It's just, like, going around in this really confusing bullshit the whole time, with your hand on the wall. It's like, I don't care. you know, and it's this is all you're doing. There's only so many enemy types, and basically once you've played a few episodes of it, you get the idea, and it's like, that might still be fun, but it's simplistic. It might not hold your interest, and especially nowadays, there are other games that have some similar kinds of gameplay, but just have better things to them, so I can understand, like, this might feel kind of lame in comparison at this point. Man, like, it could use with a little tweaking. Also, the sound design. I'll bring that one up. Last point for that. The sound design is a little annoying in the sense that, I have a couple, I guess. Sometimes, basically, the sound of one thing will cut out the sound of another. Like, you open a door, you can't hear the sound of a guy being alerted, you know, and then all of a sudden you're getting shot, you don't know why. Or a sound of someone getting alerted or dying, you know, might not, like, it'll cover up the sound of a door opening or closing, and all of a sudden, again, somebody sneaks up on you because you couldn't hear the door. And, like, the way the sound kind of cuts out is very frustrating in something with the sound design like this. And it would be annoying if the music cut out during that kind of thing. But, like, I would rather the music just totally, like, cut out or just not have music if it meant that I could hear, you know, the doors and the enemies at the same time, so I could be aware of my surroundings, because that and, like, the stealth stuff, like, that's pretty important in this game as a mechanic, and the few mechanics there are to really play with, that's a really important one that kind of gets swept under the rug sometimes. So, I guess what I'm saying about Wolfenstein 3D. The other point I was going to just quick say, you can't turn and strafe at the same time. That's kind of annoying. I wish I could turn and strafe at the same time, but you can't, because of the way they program the keys and whatnot. Even with the mouse, you can't do it. I don't know why. You can get used to it, but, you know, it's kind of annoying. But anyways, the point is, Wolfenstein 3D is, for recommendation's sake, it's the kind of game where I would say if you were looking at it and you're like, I'm interested in the history of first-person shooters, it looks fun, I'd like to play it. If you're saying that kind of stuff when you're looking at it and hearing about it, try it out. You can get it for cheap, probably. Try it out, and you probably will enjoy it. If it looks fun, it probably is. But if you're someone like, you know, I wouldn't say it's a must-play. It's not the kind of game where you're gonna like, I'm going to be like, you have to... It's no Doom. I'm not going to be like, hey, you have to play this, dude. It's really awesome. It's one of those where it's like, if you think you'll like it, if you think it's something you'll be interested in, play it. It's available pretty cheap. It's on Steam for, like, I think it was maybe like $5. You probably get it cheaper, especially on sales and stuff. And, I mean, it's been on multiple systems also. I'm sure you could I think there's actually I haven't tried it, but I believe I heard anyways, that they did release a browser version, if that's still up. So you just play the game in your browser. So if you at least want to try it out and see if you like it enough to buy it, that'd be a way to go. And the Game Boy Advance version, because I am rather familiar with it, that's where I first beat the game. I will say that the music doesn't work in that version. You can only save between each level, but everything else is the same, pretty much exactly the same. So if you wanted to play Wolfenstein 3D on the go, Game Boy Advance is not a bad choice for getting that either. And again, this game is maybe worth the $5, but Game Boy Advance, maybe you can bump it up to... just fuck it. Across the board, $5 or less, I'm going to say, for this game, because it is a little limited. It could get a little tedious. It's an alright amount of content, but it's also like such a repetitive amount of it. Like, it's very repetitive content, so, you know, I wouldn't want you to go spend a bunch of money on a game when you're like, that was it. I think if you spend too much, you'll be disappointed in what it is, rather than appreciating what's there at this point. And that's more or less the feelings on it. Get it if you think you'll like it. I guess that's the gist of it. I don't know. Look, I don't know how to end reviews ever, really. So I'll just tell you that there's still the written thing in the description. But if you're still interested in more Wolfenstein stuff, I will probably... The next review, I will probably have the next review be of Spear of Destiny, which I also got on Steam, and that's, like, they did later, like, I don't know if it's supposed to be a sequel, or, like, an expansion, exactly, or what the fuck. I've never really played it. So, we'll be checking that out after this, and by the time that review happens, I will have played it and have an idea of just what the fuck it is. It's probably more of the same shit, but wouldn't you like to know? Wouldn't you like to find out? I know I would, because I'm a real person. I'm Sam.